Today, our speaker is Napoleon Carter, president of the Patriot Isaac Carter Chapter of North Carolina Society of Sons of American Revolution. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
He was born in Harlow, and he's a '73 graduate of Havelock High School. Hey, listen to this. He attended NC State University. Obtained an Associate of Business Management from the University of Maryland. He retired from the U.S. Army in 2001 after 20 years of service, and from the North Carolina Department of Transportation in 2017 after 17 years. He works presently with Gannett Fleming as an engineering technician. One of the original charter members of the Patriot Isaac Carter Chapter of the Sons of American Revolution in 2016. He was elected as president in 2017. And so we're glad to have him here, and I can't wait to learn how this chapter was formed. And as always, you know, history is history. From wherever it comes, we want to keep it alive and going. So without further ado, let's welcome Napoleon Carter.
Well, the first thing they did, they made a mistake by putting me after you ate dinner. I knew everybody's sleeping, so I'm trying to hold it to 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah, I want you to learn something, but I don't want you to fall asleep on me. I want to thank the Duplin County Historical Society for inviting me here today. I consider it a real honor to spread the news of our chapter to people who may or may not know about it. I have some notes here, and I may follow them, then I may drift off a little bit. Like I said, my name is Napoleon Carter. I have my wife, Awilda, with me here today. We are from the little, well, it's not a town, it's a community of Harlow. It's located between Beaufort and Cherry Point in the southeastern part of Craven County. A little background. On September 3rd, the North Carolina Society, Sons of the American Revolution, formed a newest chapter, the Patriot Isaac Carter Chapter. It's the first chapter composed primarily of African American men from the Sons of the American Revolution, with the majority of its charter members being descendants of the charter's namesake. The story of how this chapter came to be started at least 260 years ago and involves the history of lost American history and the work of members of both the SAR and the DAR. Our ancestors basically came from the Southampton region of Virginia to the area by the Neuse River between Clubfoot Creek and Neuse River, and that's where they settled at. Some of the records say about the early 1700s, but we can trace members there for sure in the 1720s. They were free men of color, and that's one of the reasons I was able to trace some of my ancestors. Some of the problems as a black person you have trying to find your history is that, you know, you can trace it back pretty good up to 1860 or 1850s, and once you after, you know, before you know, the time of slavery, you really weren't a name, you were property or a number. Okay, excuse me. In the early part of the 18th century, well before the American Revolution, a group of families from Maryland and Virginia migrated to the eastern shores of North Carolina in search of new farmland. These free men of color were seeking a new place where they were not subject to oppressive laws due to their race, and a place to live peacefully and earn their living. At the end of the Tuscarora Indian War and with the colonies, they settled in the present-day counties of Carter and Craven. forming 4 small communities which have been documented located to establish the dates to the early 1700s. That shows that the exact time of the arrival of these families, but there is documentation that shows that they were there prior to the 1750s. Even this makes the settlement of the Harlow area some of the earliest free African American settlements in North Carolina. Following the Tuscarora War, these free men of color settled in the lands vacated by the Tuscarora. After the war, the powers of the Tuscarora was broken, and they retreated from the area that became Harlow. By 1720, this migration of the Tuscarora back to New York from where they had come was accomplished. So with land easily available and in a colony that was more welcome to African Americans, it is reasonable to suppose that families who settled in Harlow area began arriving in the late 1720s rather than the 1750s. We firmly believe that these families have been in the eastern portion of North Carolina for at least 300 years and have always been the free residents of North Carolina. In the latter part of the 18th century, the American Revolution began. American Revolutionary War included patriots from many different ethnic backgrounds, although the diversity of the first American Army has not been well publicized. Many of these American heroes have been honored and remembered through many activities, but there was a large group of these early settlers, early heroes, whose contributions have been largely neglected. There were the many African Americans who served the cause of American independence through the Revolution. When the American Revolution began, the settlers in Harlow were mostly farmers and were free men. They chose to send 14 of their men to fight in the American Revolution for freedom from the British. These 14 free men were volunteers who chose to leave their land and families and go off to war. They fought in the battles in New Jersey and the early part of the war, including Valley Forge, where the American Army was truly born. They fought in the Battle of Pennsylvania and both sieges of Charleston, as well as the battles of southern campaigns that ended the war. Some of these patriots manned the garrisons at Fort Hancock at Cape Lookout, the only fort constructed in North Carolina during the Revolution. Following the war, the 14 patriots returned home, and some stayed in their Harlow area, while others moved to other communities. Their experiences remain in family stories that were mostly lost through the passage of time. The contribution of these 14 forgotten patriots in the American Revolution is not generally known today and is rarely taught in school. On March 16, 2014, the North Carolina Society of the Sons of the American Revolution conducted a ceremony to dedicate the market of these 14 free men in the communities of Craven and Carteret County, North Carolina. The ceremony was attended by more than 200 people, and I was there, and it was rainy and cold, so a lot more people would have been there, but like I said, it was so cold there. More than 200 people brought together descendants and Sons of American Revolution compatriots from North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. The DAR, Daughters of the American Revolution, was strongly represented. The descendants of the 14 patriots participated in the ceremony. National officers attending were the President General. We also had Marines from the nearby Cherry Point Air Station who were the color guards. On September 3rd, the Patriot Isaac Carter Chapter was chartered by the North Carolina Sons of the American Revolution. The chapter is named for one of the 14 patriots from Harlow. A crowd of approximately 230 gathered at the Havelock Event Center to enjoy a dinner of Eastern barbecue and celebrate the new chapter. SAR General officers in attendance were President General J. Michael Tomei Sr. and his First Lady, David Simpson and his wife Evelyn, President General Dooley, President General Lindsey C. Brock and his wife, Treasurer General Warren Alter and his wife, Genealogist General. The evening was opened with the presentation of the colors by the SAR. We also had during the ceremony, we had he wasn't there, but he sent us a video welcoming us to as a part of the Sons of the American Revolution from the governor. And that was the place where we were actually received our charter and everything. The Patriot Father, the names of the men who were part of the first freemen, we have Martin Black, David Carter, John Carter, Joshua Carter, William Dove, John Gregory, Absalom Martin, Mingo Springer, George Perkins, Isaac Carter, and Hezekiah Stringer, and Mingo Stringer. Isaac Carter was one of the 14 patriots who, our namesake, was from the Harlow community, who served the cause of independence during the American Revolution. In the early steps aimed at correcting history, the North Carolina Society of the American Revolution dedicated a memorial marker to these 14 forgotten patriots on March 16th at the Havelock Harlow Senior Center, the 4 communities that make up what is now known as the Harlow area. In the absence of the documented historical research, we don't know exactly where these families reached when these families reached the Harlow area, but we assume it was about the 1750s. We are sure that you would agree that the people who first settled the Harlow area and then sent 14 of their sons, husbands, and fathers to fight the American Revolution for independence deserve to have their stories told. We believe that the information of the Patriot Isaac Carter chapter is a step in that direction, and that we hope that you would join us in the celebration of our formation. Thank you.